Hi, my name is Matthew Quilliam, and in this video I'm going to be exploring some things called hammer-ons and pull-offs. So hammer-ons and pull-offs are really common, and we're going to explore how they can be used in this video today. But first, let's actually learn how to do them. Now, I've briefly touched upon them in my video on ornamentation, which I have put a link to in the description of this video, and hopefully somewhere on screen as well. Basically, hammer-ons and pull-offs allow you to create ornaments and decorations to melodies and chords that you can't do at a fast enough speed with your right hand. I'm going to play you a little melody. This is the opening melody to Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring. Now for that, I was using just my right hand to pluck every single note, as you might normally. However, I had to turn the tempo down quite a lot in order to actually be able to produce the notes at a speed that my right hand could cope with. This is how the melody should actually sound. Did you notice how in my left hand there were a lot of quick notes? That is the use of the hammer-on and pull-off to create notes that I couldn't possibly make with my right hand at the speed required. It's essentially a way of creating a note in just the left hand. Let's start with the hammer-on. This is where we hit the string with such velocity that it actually creates a sound without having to have any input from this hand. So I'm going to put it behind my back. Can you hear that? Dum. Creating lots of notes. And the same with the pull-off is that you're able to create a note by whipping your hand off a string. So how does that work? Let's explore now. For a hammer-on, you've simply just got to hit the string with the finger as hard as possible. Now, not overly hard, you don't want to sort of be whacking the ukulele. You know, try light touches, and then see how loud you can get the hammer-ons and pull-offs there. And try doing it with every finger as well. You can hammer on just the open string, or you can hammer on from a note that's on the same string below it. So the hammer-on is a two-note process. You start with the note that you're already playing, or the note that comes before the note that is to be hammered on. So let's say it's an open A string. And then the hammer-on, let's say the next note is the D, so the hammer-on would be the D. La la. I've only got one movement with my right hand though. You can hammer on with two fingers as well, so whereby we've got that open A string in the first example, but say the note before that D was actually going to be a B, you'll have to practice using two fingers like that. So pluck the B, then hammer on with the D. So there are two ways of playing the hammer-on there that you'll have to experiment with. First, just the open string that you're hammering onto, and then also having a finger already on the string that you then have to hammer on with. And so that becomes a bit of a balancing act with the two fingers. The other thing is the pull-off. So this is where we come off the string to create a note using the left hand. So in a similar way, where we hit the string for the hammer-on, you have to sort of pull off. The string will bend a little, but just a little. This is generally a lot louder than hammer-ons, as you can hear. So make sure you practice sort of trying to make both effects equally audible. And again, there are two different ways as well. You've either got the open string that you pull off to, or you can pull off onto another fret. So there you are. That's hammering on and pulling off. A few good exercises for this include going down the C major scale on the A string. So you have, each time you have a pair of notes, starting on this A, this is the 12th fret, the octave, and then I've got the G below it. So we first of all pluck the G, then hammer on to the A, so G, A, and then pull off back to the G. That pattern then repeats down the entire string using the notes of the C major scale. Until you get back to the G. The pairs of fingers that you use will change depending on whether the notes you're playing in each pair are next, sort of like that, so they've got a fret in between, or if they're next door, like the E and the F there. For that reason, it's a really good sort of practice tool for being able to hammer on and pulling off with lots of different fingers moving up and down the fretboard. You could even try going upwards as well. Have a little explore. First, just practice the techniques in isolation, and then apply them to that practice. And there are lots of other different ways you can practice as well. One thing I will say to be wary of is doing these techniques on strings other than the A string, because, well, with the A string, when you pull off, you've got all this space, open space here, doesn't really matter where your hand goes. But with the other strings, if you try and just pull off, you're very likely to hit the next string over. You know, I pulled off on the C string, but accidentally hit the E string as well. And there you go, I've hit all three of the strings below. You've got to really practice making sure you're being precise on the strings that aren't the A string. One technique is to actually land the finger on the next string over. So if I have that D, so there you go, I plucked off of the C string and my finger slid across. My finger didn't leave the fretboard, it slid over to sort of land on the E string. Landing on the string without making a noise obviously means I don't hit that string or any of the others, and it lets the note that I actually want to ring. It's a cross between up and down. You've got to get the angle just right so that it doesn't hit the next string over. That said, when you're playing a lot of very fast notes in quick succession, where you would be using hammer-ons and pull-offs, it might not be the world's most necessary technique to completely avoid these ghost notes, these unwanted notes. So even though I can pull off of the E string pretty effectively, I'm still getting a tiny bit of sound from the A string. I don't know if it's so small, I don't even know if it's coming across on the camera. That's what I'm doing, there's like a ghost echo from the A string. That's probably fine, because if these notes are lasting a fraction of a second, then they're not going to really stand out if they've got a ghost note with them. But on the whole, it's always good to try and be as accurate as you can. So there we are. I think we've covered everything that there is to know for hammering on and pulling off. As I say, these are really good for quick notes, and they're also good for ornamentation as well. If you don't know what an ornament is, then check out my video. There's a link in the description where you can watch that to learn about how you can actually use these in your playing. If you enjoyed what you've seen, I do post tuition videos every Monday, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to get notified of when I next publish videos. I also do performance videos and miscellaneous videos on Fridays as well. Head over to matthewquilliam.co.uk where you can see more information about me, and like my Facebook page, Matthew Quilliam Music. Leave a tip at my PayPal if you would be so inclined, I'd be very grateful, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.